in the environment and in an ecosystem where communication has become easier because of social media, so that something happening in Europe, you're able to tell real time what's happening, what the government is doing. And maybe in previous negotiations, there could have been difficulties, but which were not out because the social media was not at that level then. Communication was not as easy. So it's a more accountable season.
Fred, I think we like going round in circles about something very simple things. It is true, and I agree with my co-panelist that, of course, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is still staffed with professionals. And of course, then when you talk about the diplomatic goofs, one may ask, like you did, whether it's that we have some inferior kind of a Minister of Foreign Affairs. And I think it's simple, Fred. We have technical staff, we have professionals, people who have studied diplomacy at very high levels, people who have long experiences in that ministry. But Fred, the issue is, does the president bother to consult and listen to those professionals? So it's very simple. You know, you can keep going round in circles while the problem is very simple. That we have professionals, that we have people who have the necessary knowledge, people who can advise, but are they given an opportunity to advise? And if they are given an opportunity to advise, is their advice taken by the president? Because that is clearly where the problem is. The problem is not that we do not have diplomats, that we do not have professionals. The problem is professionalism has been thrown out of the window, and we know whom the president spends time with. And that is a problem that we are having, Fred. So two things: not listening to advice and not seeking the same, and not even actually listening to it. Number two, interests. Just like you have had, just like I said, the SGC talked about. That is where the problem is. So when we keep going around in circles without confronting the real problem, then it does not help anybody, even the viewers of this particular program. When you talk about AUC, it is not about the structure of AUC. Because if it was about the structure of AUC, we would have talked about it before we lost, before the Right Honorable Raila Odinga lost. Now that we have lost, we want to argue that probably we should actually even look at the structure of AUC and see whether some countries some countries can never ever be able to produce a chairperson because of the structure, like it favors the Muslim states, Francophones, and that kind of thing. Fred, it is simple. We lost the AUC seat because we messed diplomacy. We should not sugarcoat this. We would have won this particular seat had we not messed the M23 DRC issue, Fred. The SADC countries would have voted for us. In fact, some of these presidents in SADC are personal friends, private friends of Raila Amolo Odinga. But then, of course, when we messed diplomacy in DRC, of course, SADC, and we know they wrote a letter and, of course, advised their member states to vote for the Madagascar candidate. Of course, when the candidate lost, because they were already offended by Kenya, they would not have voted for the Kenyan candidate. So I don't think there is anything wrong with the structure of AU. I think, and if it were there, like I had said, then we would have talked about it even before the elections. Right. I think the problem is the way we are handling our foreign relations, the way we are handling diplomacy. That is where the problem is. The way we are interested, we have some personal and commercial interests. The way we do not listen to professionals and we do not consult them.
All right, and that's exactly what's captured there on the front page of the East African this week. They say Ruto's gamble on DRC and Sudan peace, his hobnobbing with warlord Hemeti is frowned upon, but officials say it is partisan.